Hey, welcome back to another Facebook Live series video inside of the social media startup series. I'm so excited to be here for day 3, and I don't want to delay at all. I want to get right into everything that I want to talk to you guys about today because today's a very important topic. I've kind of been building up to this day a little bit with the previous 2 videos. So today we're going to be talking about what do you need in order to become a social media manager? I think sometimes, people believe that you need to have some type of certification. You need to have some type of maybe college degree in order to be a social media manager. Or you have to have, some type of personality or something. Well, here's the deal, guys. In my opinion and in my experience, you don't need any of those things to just get yourself started, okay? And the reason that I say that, and I say it confidently, is because I am somebody that basically has like the highest level of education that I have is an associate's degree. It's in liberal arts, you guys. I didn't do anything specific with my degree field. I was a 2.9 GPA student, nothing fancy. I don't have a marketing degree. Definitely don't have some type of master's degree, any of that stuff. Outside of some on-the-job training that I had to do for when I worked as a marketing consultant, which was just really the term marketing consultant at my job was just kind of a cover-up title for what my job actually was, which was sales. It's a lot easier to get on the phone to a small business and say, hey, this is Danielle Welch with so-and-so company, and I'm your marketing consultant, instead of saying I'm a sales rep, right? So marketing consultant was really just cover up for the fact that I was a salesperson. But outside of some on-the-job training that I had for Google AdWords or things like that, I don't have any specific certifications. And I have a lot of conversations with people. And if you're watching here and you've asked yourself or you've asked somebody how do I become a social media manager? Or do I have the credentials to do so? Let me just stop you right now and say, you don't need credentials. You don't need a degree. And I want to talk to you today about the things that you do need, okay? And I'm going to start first and foremost with the mindset. We're going to talk about the practical things that sure you're going to need to be successful, but I want to first identify where your mindset is at. If you've ever found yourself in a position of feeling I could never start my own business because I don't have experience in that. Well, how do you get experience, right? Or if you feel some of the conversations I have with people is I'm not very creative, so how can I become a social media manager because I'm creative? Here's the first thing that I believe that everyone needs to have in order to become a social media manager. And first and foremost, that is just belief in yourself, right? It's important to learn from other people what's helped them to be successful, which is why I'm going to be launching my group coaching program at the end of the month where I'm going to mentor people and teaching them how to become social media manager freelancers. It's important to learn from others, but you also need to, my daughter's joining us. Can you say hi? Okay, can you go back downstairs, please? Thank you. All right, go back downstairs. Go see Daddy. All right, well, I'm going to have to call Daddy. This is life of working at home.
No, Daddy's up here. Downstairs.
Can you say hi to everybody then? Okay, please go back downstairs. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Here, you can even take my phone. Live, this is great. Shut the door, please. Hold on. Oh, Nick, she would have totally said hi to you if I had her still in here. But anyways, okay, so getting back on track. So mindset, right? I first and foremost need you to believe in yourself that you can start something, okay? Whether it is becoming a social media manager or using Nick as an example, Nick just is finishing up, I believe, getting out of being a barber, starting his own barber business, which, by the way, he's in Wichita. So if you need your cut, you need some help, he's your guy. He just commented, said hi, so go follow him. Nick, drop your link there. But you got to believe in yourself, right? You've got to believe that you can do something with this idea that you have, right? So believe in yourself first and foremost, that you can become something. The next thing that I believe that you need in order to become a social media manager is, I believe that you need a community. I think that you need to surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, people that can support you, encourage you, inspire you, that you can learn from. There's a lot of different communities out there, but I just created a Facebook group. It's the Social Media Manager Startup Community. Very easy to find that because it's the same title as the series. There's intentionality behind that. Where I'm wanting to create a space for people who are social media managers or want to become one, so that we can all learn from each other. I'm going to be doing free trainings in there, but I really want people to connect with each other, share ideas. It can be easy in the world of entrepreneurship to say like, oh, Sally does social media management too. She's my competition. Well, if you always see people as competition, then you probably have some inner belief in you that says that there's not enough business to go around, which really is rooted in lack mentality. If you have more of the perspective, like there's enough business out there for everybody, right? There's enough money and wealth to go around for everybody. That's an abundance mentality. I promise you that you're going to attract more people to your business that way. But community is so important, okay? So another thing that you need to have is self-discipline. Being a social media freelancer, especially if you're trying to be full-time self-employed with that, like you've got to have some boundaries in your schedule. You've got to make sure that you're in a position to where, you don't get distracted easily. You've got to have set time. So having proper time management principles in place is important, but also just that discipline to like, hey, it's 2:00 in the afternoon right now, and I want to be done by 5, but I've got some other things to do. And it's about making the decision, like, I'm going to get this task done before I move on to something else. We're going to talk a lot more about self-discipline and work ethic inside of my group coaching program. And another thing that you need to become a social media manager is continuing education, right? And for me, I have invested quite a bit into ongoing education, courses, different things that are sharpening my knowledge and my skill set. That's a decision that I made because a long time ago, a couple of my mentors helped me to understand the value of learning from other people. And yes, there's a lot of free information out there that you can get generalized knowledge on. But sometimes you need to put yourself in a position of getting specified knowledge. And so I have invested hundreds and hundreds of dollars in whether it's different coaching programs, courses that I've taken, ebooks, you name it, like always learning, right? For me, and a reason that I feel like I'm separated from a lot of people in my industry as a social media marketer is because I just continue to study the industry, right? Digital marketing and social media, like if you really think about the last 20 years and really in the world as humans, like social media and digital marketing have really begun to shape our society and our culture as we know it. Because, as humans, we're like attached to our phones all the time, It's media that's really kind of telling us about other parts of the world, about what's going on. Not media as in like news, guys. I'm talking like movies and shows and social media platforms and things like that. So if digital marketing and social media marketing have such a huge impact on our culture and our society, why wouldn't we want to study it? Especially as social media marketers or even entrepreneurs. And quite honestly, just as humans, like why not study and learn about the programs and the systems that are out there that are having such an impact on our society? Because I believe when you learn about how social media works, how digital marketing works, how marketing business to business or business to consumer, how that all works, I feel like you can start to understand people better. And when you understand people better and their behaviors, then you can understand how they use platforms. When you understand how they use the platforms, then you can create strategies around those platforms to reach those people. with a message that's going to be attractive to them. So that's just part of the education side of thing. Like, to become a very successful social media manager, there just needs to be that willingness to always be learning, right? And I believe it was Jim Rohn who talks about the importance of being a lifetime learner and how you should always be looking for opportunities to grow in your wisdom, grow in your knowledge. That's actually also in the Bible. It talks about that and the importance of seeking out wisdom, because we are not created, coming out into the world as babies, knowing about the world. Like, we learn about life through education, not education system necessarily, but education in general, learning, right? So again, in order to become a successful social media manager, you got to believe in yourself. You got to surround yourself with people who believe in you, can encourage you, inspire you. You got to have discipline to do the work and continuing to be educated and have a willingness to learn. Nick, I'm going to get to your question at the end. Okay, buddy? Now let's talk a little bit about the practical side of things. As a social media manager, practically running your business, what do you need, right? I'm just going to talk about 3 main components. I'm going to talk about a lot more of this inside of my free training that we're going to have hopefully on Thursday the 24th. I've been under the weather and sick for the last week, so I've kind of had to push some things around, but I'm still hoping to do that on the 24th. But today I just want to talk about 3 practical tools, pillars, I guess you could say, that you need to have in place as a social media manager. First of all, you need to have a general knowledge of the social media platforms and who uses them, and be specific. So there's Facebook, there's Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. Pinterest is not a social media platform, guys. It's actually a search engine, but there's a lot of traffic on Pinterest on a regular basis. So that does need to be something that becomes like, you need to consider that as a platform that you need to learn. But it's not a social media platform. It's not somewhere that I can share family pictures and updates and stuff like that. It's a search engine. That's where you find things, but it's huge. So let's just say those 7 ones, right? You need to have a general knowledge of the platforms, how to post on them, how to schedule things on them, who uses them, I think, is more important than anything. Certain age groups use Snapchat versus using Facebook. Younger users are using Snapchat and TikTok and stuff, compared to older users are using Facebook, LinkedIn, things like that. So it's very important to know, like, who uses those platforms. And you need to be specific in knowing the different platforms. Do you have to be an expert on them? Absolutely not. One piece of homework, if you really want to, start diving into some of this stuff and applying what I'm teaching you today, is maybe choose 3 platforms that you can study and learn some new information on. Taylor said, I was told it was better to use Facebook Ad Manager rather than paid boosting. Yeah, I'm going to answer that question at the end, because I want to get through this, and then, because that's a great question that should be answered. So stay with me to the end. We're going to get there. So number 1, general knowledge of social media platforms, who uses them, right? Learn that. So today, choose 3 platforms that you can go study and find out. Do research on this. Pinterest is my favorite platform to do research on. Because it's going to lead you to blogs and articles that other people have written. So it's just like Google, but I feel like you get to learn more from people like me on Pinterest versus like big companies, which is important to learn from big companies. I just like to learn from fellow entrepreneurs and bloggers. Okay, number 2 thing that you need in place. You need to decide upon a niche or a niche or a niche. It's Niche. However you decide you want to pronounce that is your prerogative. But you need to decide upon a niche. See, I can't even say it now. I always say niche. And then get very good at that one. Okay, so for me, one of my best niches was service-based businesses for homeowners, roofing contractors, pest control companies, general contractors, fencing contractors. Why? Because some of my first jobs in my early 20s was working for companies like those. So I knew kind of like the homeowners' pain points. Like I knew who like I know who a roofing contractor's ideal customer is, especially in Wichita, Kansas after a hailstorm, right? So deciding upon a certain niche and getting very good at understanding that niche, and then you can kind of start to move into other niches. The reason why, when you're beginning as a social media manager, if you're trying to work with a wellness company, a doctor, a roofing company, a solo entrepreneur, maybe you're trying to be the marketing person for someone who's in an MLM, like you've got 5 different industries. And inside of each one of those industries, you've got a bunch of different like target audiences. And sure, can you go learn all those and be a badass at all of it? Absolutely. But here's the thing. You got to learn strategy and systems first in your business in order to scale. And I feel like it's a lot easier to do that when you narrow in on businesses that fit within a niche that you're familiar with or comfortable with. So take some of the jobs that you've had before. So like Taylor, you're here, right? You're listening. I know that you worked in the mortgage industry, right? You've done some real estate stuff in the past. So just as an idea, I don't even know if you want to be a social media manager, but just using you as an example, becoming a social media manager for real estate agents, right? Because you know that industry very well. You have an interest in home decor, kind of family lifestyle. That's the same type of audience of a real estate agent, right? So you could easily relate to and create content for a real estate agent or for a mortgage officer or a loan processing company or whatever it may be. So that's kind of an example there. So when you do that, then you have the ability. So we've got 1, general knowledge of social media platforms. 2, get decided upon a niche and get very good at that one. 2.A is building out a portfolio. So showing your work. So when you do get your first client, and you will, okay, like you will get your first client, show your work, keep a record of what you've done for that client, the strategy that you put in place, keeping a record of content and graphics that you've created for them. Okay, moving on to number 3, you need to have your own social media accounts. They need to be business profiles, okay? So you need to have a Facebook business page, an Instagram profile that's converted over to a business account. And me personally, I have a LinkedIn. I don't market on there a lot. I don't put a lot of my own content out there just because my ideal audience could be there, but I'm not wanting to be on LinkedIn, okay? And then the reason why it's important for you to have your own social media profiles is so that you can market yourself. Sure, like you want to get clients, well, you better show that you're good at marketing yourself first, right? How do you market yourself? We're going to talk about that inside of the group coaching program. But again, you have to identify what niches you want to work with and then creating content that's going to be attractive to them. If you look at my own Instagram, you can kind of see how I market myself. I really market myself through sharing tips. I like inspirational posts, quotes. I like to get people thinking. So does my audience. Like they think like me a lot of times. So I post things that are going to be attractive for people in their everyday life. But when you also have your own social media profiles, you can try new strategies out on yourself before you try them on your clients. I do this all the time. I sacrifice my own following, my own engagement counts, like all of those kind of like vanity metrics that people look at. How many likes did you get? How many shares? How many followers? Like whatever, dude, that stuff actually doesn't matter. What matters is people paying you. Okay. How many likes and followers you have does not translate into what's in your bank account. Okay. Stamp on that. But I think it's important to try out new strategies, and I'm not willing to put my client on the line for a new marketing strategy unless they tell me to. I'm going to try it on myself first before I go implement it on a client or all of my clients. So general knowledge of being on social media platforms, number 1. Number 2, decide upon a niche and get very good at it. And number 3, you need your own social media profiles. They need to be business accounts so that you can learn how to read analytics and metrics. So that you can test things out on yourself and start to market yourself, okay? A couple other little parting thoughts. You're gonna need to have some type of scheduling platform. I think I talked about this in the last video that I did, but putting yourself out there as far as creating content and scheduling it ahead of time. For me, hold on guys, sorry. For me, I use Creator Studio. That does everything for Facebook and Instagram. If you're only marketing on those platforms, it's free. As long as you are the Facebook admin on a page, you will be able to see them inside of your own Creator Studio. I also use Hootsuite. I pay for that monthly. I have 18 or 19 social media profiles, all of my clients linked in there. Now that's an investment for me. It's an out-of-pocket expense. It's a write-off in my business. Inside of my group coaching program, I'm also going to talk about the bookkeeping side of your business. We're going to have a guest expert come in and talk about that. So you need a scheduling platform, okay? You're going to need to develop some type of reporting system so that you can show your clients the progress that you're making, whether that's going to be in a Google spreadsheet or you buy a system that pulls all of the analytics and reporting for you. You're going to need to show what the progress is on the work that you're doing. I don't have anything created right now, but I know the need for this. So I'm considering creating, because I pay for an analytics reporting tool inside of Hootsuite, and I've also paid for, Social Report, and that pulls all of my clients is like how many likes did they get this month, how much followers did they grow by. You can do all of that stuff manually, but I am looking at putting together like a spreadsheet that will allow for my students inside of the group coaching programs to copy it so that they can use that to track their clients. Analytics. That's going to be something that I give to all of my students. And then you need a time tracker. I use Toggl. That's TOGGL.com. And it is a awesome, there's like what is it called? A Chrome extension that you can put on your Google Chrome or on your Safari. And you just click the button and you say what you're working on, and it kind of clocks you in. That is so important when you're first starting your business, because you need to know how much time that you are spending on certain clients to make sure that you're not putting too much time into them, or just even the ability to learn how long it takes you to work on, let's say, content creation so that you can get better at that over time. Okay, so we covered a lot of things, right? We talked about the mindset that you need to have as a social media manager, the 3 practical things that you need to have in place, as well as some more of those specifics, the scheduling tools, the analytics reporting, and the time tracker. So that's it, okay? It doesn't take I say that. I just talked for 25 minutes and I was about to say it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. Again, you just have to believe in yourself. Surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. Learn from others. Ask questions. Be willing to invest into yourself, and continue to just be a learner, okay? That's what it takes to be a social media manager. All right, notes put aside. Let's answer your question, Nick. So Nick says, question, maybe off topic, but is it a good idea to pay the $10 to boost posts? Okay, anytime you're considering putting ads towards a post, first and foremost, you need to make sure if you're boosting a post, which boosting a post is different than building out an ad inside of Facebook Ad Manager, okay? If you're going to boost a post, you need to make sure that the image that you're putting out there is extremely attractive, it's visually appealing, and it's going to stop someone's scroll. Just think about it. When you're on your Facebook or Instagram app, right, and you are just scrolling and you're just kind of doing your thing, what is the post that get you to stop for a moment to see what it is before you move on? Usually it's a video piece. It's something that's dynamic and kind of stands out to you. Most of the time, users on their cell phone, which is how most people access social media platforms, they do not have their sound on. So sound isn't as important, but if you're doing a video post, you have to have captions so that people know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's going to look like that, right? You're not going to hear anything. So you need to also make sure, okay, so let's say you've got the check mark for the visual. It looks awesome. It's legit. Well, is the caption that you put in there telling them to take an action? Is it telling them to do anything? Is the caption in there I cut hair, holla, whatever, I don't know. Or is it telling a story? Is it invoking emotion? you've got to make sure before you boost a post that you've made, you need to make sure like that investment is going to be like you're putting stock into something that is going to provide you a return, right? Don't just boost post to boost post. Facebook is absolutely always going to tell you to boost post. You know why? Because they want your money. They want it to not work for you, okay? So, because they want you to keep spending money, and then people get frustrated and they're like, Facebook doesn't work for me. And it's like, no, there's got to be a strategy in place, right? If you want to go play the penny slots at, the casino, no strategy behind that, right? You can just put some money in, pull the lever, awesome. That to me is like just boosting random posts. But if you want to be strategic and you want to put yourself in a better position to win, then go study how to play blackjack, right? Or learn craps or whatever it is. It's a game of luck, but whatever. So a little bit of just analogy for you on boosting post. I tell somebody, unless you know how to read the analytics that you are going to receive after you've put your $10 in or whatever it is, then you may not want to boost post yet. You need to understand how to read your return on investment. It's just like you wouldn't just go throw $100 into the stock market and say, let's sit back and see what happens. No, you're going to hopefully study what you're putting your money into, understand what the potential return on investment is, and then watch and learn. That's, just investing 101. So there are actually a couple of resources out there for you, Nick, if you wanted to study a little bit that are free. If you just send me a DM, I actually rushed through taking one of these courses. It's called the Lead Gen Academy. I think the guy's actually from England, but he did like a 5-day Facebook Live challenge, and he basically teaches how to read, do all those things when it comes to Facebook ads. Like I rushed through it so that I could get some general knowledge, but I need to go back and restudy it. So if you just send me a DM, I can get you the link that I have to that program. And yes, I agree with what Taylor said. If you are wanting to advertise your business and have some more strategy in place, like I do believe taking the time to work inside of Facebook Ad Manager is better than boosting posts. At the end of the day, when you put money towards a post, it's all you're doing is just paying to get it in front of more people. For those of you who are watching now on the live or on the replay, I am going to have to do a training before the end of the month, because Facebook is changing everything. Like, have you guys noticed that? Give me a thumbs up or a yes if you have noticed this, but especially later at night, Facebook is prioritizing inside of the newsfeed, like group posts. Or maybe some of you have noticed if you're on your computer that Facebook's platform looks a little bit different. Like they're migrating over from what's now called the classic version into more, it looks different. They've taken out basically the news feed is kind of gone. In a sense, it's hidden. One of the things with the change is they're prioritizing community and groups on Facebook. Like if you watched the Super Bowl this year, hopefully you saw some of the ads. I love commercials. And I need to make a post about this. This is the 4th time I've said that. Facebook paid for a Super Bowl ad to promote Facebook groups. And it was the weirdest commercial because it was like you see these groups of people getting together and walking down the street, and it's I don't know, some random walkers club or something, and it was just kind of and then there was a scene where it was people doing arts and crafts, and Facebook paid for a Super Bowl ad, you guys. It's Facebook. They don't need to pay for advertising unless they're trying to get a point across. Well, guess what the point is? The point is letting us all know, hey, we acquired Instagram, so we actually want Instagram to be like Facebook used to be, where people post about their life, do videos, and stuff like that. And we actually want Facebook to become more of a community platform. Think about all the stuff that Facebook's been kind of under fire for this year. And everything is community guidelines, community this, groups that, community. Well, guess what? That's what they want their platform to be. Okay. So it's changing drastically for businesses. People that market their businesses right now on Facebook, if they're not inside of a Facebook group, you're going to see a huge drop in your engagement on Facebook. Okay. I think something that I heard inside of another group that I'm a part of is that only 2 to 5% of your Facebook followers are going to see the posts that you make on your page. Now, that does not mean that you need to jump ship on Facebook. No, that's not what that means at all. In fact, you still need to create posts and have them go out towards Facebook. But it may not be your primary focus as far as strategy is when it comes to content creation. The reason you need to still post on your Facebook page is because if someone tells me about Bald and Blades and Nick the Barber, like, I want to go check this guy out. So I'm going to go see what some of his work looks like, right? I want to go check out the business a little bit. I want to do some research. So instead of in the buying process, like the customer experience, where Facebook posts used to be kind of at the top of the funnel, where it's like the awareness side of things. Now it's more into the smaller part of the funnel, where if they make it to you, it's because they're in the research phase of that buying cycle, where they want to learn more about you, but they're not likely going to find you in the newsfeed. So that's a total side tangent. I need to do a whole training on that. But Instagram is now going to be the place where people are going to need to be focusing a lot of their like content strategy at, because that's where people are going to be spending more time in their news feeds and not inside of groups. Okay, so we covered a lot. Hopefully this was helpful. So kind of next steps, what's on the agenda next is I want to do another Facebook. I want to do 2 more live trainings this week. The next one is going to be what could an extra 20 hours back into your work week do for you? Like, what would that look like? And the reason that I want to kind of talk about that is because when I first started this business, I was still working 40 hours a week, but I was just working in my business. As I put systems in place and I began to streamline some things, I cut my hours back over time to only working 20 hours a week. Today, I only work 10 to 12 hours a week because I put systems in place and I learned to streamline things, right? So all of that without losing any income, right? The revenues basically stayed the same or grown. So I would just want to do an exercise of like, what could that do for you? Like, what could an extra 20 hours a week mean to you, right? What could it bring back into your life? Could it free you up to spend more time with family or to work more so that you can create income, whatever that is? That's the next one. That might be a short training because it's not more of a training, it's just more dialogue. The one after that I want to do is top concerns that people have in starting their own freelance business as a social media manager. So I want to kind of break down those walls. And then we're basically into the free training and the webinar event, and I'm super excited about that. So just a couple more videos inside of the live series for this month, and I am going to have to do that training on Facebook, probably do that inside of my Facebook groups. I have 2 groups, one for small businesses and entrepreneurs who want to learn how to do social media themselves for their own businesses, and then another group training people how to become social media managers. So 2 different groups for that. But again, thank you guys for joining me live. It was awesome having you guys here. Great questions you guys asked. Anytime I'm live, like, come on, ask questions because I will answer them. Usually just towards the end. So I don't hold back. There's no fluff. I'm going to tell you I'm going to give you the answers. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to point you to a resource. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and you'll see me either tomorrow or Thursday for the next video in our series. So take care. Bye.